Loresco. I write stuff and podcasts too. Today, I hope I say this right. Please don't beat me. Nydia. Did I get it?
Nydia, yay.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Nydia, I have her as Nydia Raquel, but she has put herself down as Nydia Alvarado, so I'm gonna put her on the spot. Choose
Yes,
your
okay. I usually been going on about Nydia Alvarado, so I forgot when I log in. But I decided to use Nydia Raquel as my Twitter name. I think I used it on my Facebook too.
Yeah.
I got my name from my dad's sisters, or my aunt and my mom, and they both had passed away, so that's why I like my name. I've been using Nydia Raquel lately.
Okay, so
Yes.
we'll go with Raquel then.
Yeah.
How you doing? So how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Being a
It,
little nervous because it's my
I
first
see
time.
that. I can sense
You
it.
can tell. You can tell.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's just me. Look, I make an ass of
yeah.
myself all the time. Ask anyone that watches the show, watch anyone that listens to it. It's
Yeah.
my gift. I'm very, very silly. It's okay. They're really see. I interviewed a friend of mine from Pakistan. She was so nervous, right? And I told her, here's the secret: there are no mistakes.
Right.
There really isn't any. The only rule that and I have found this is actually true in life in general. If you're yourself, it will work out.
Yeah.
Or
Forget about the
yeah,
audience. Forget about people. It's just you and me. That's
you
cool.
know, that's all we got. Like, see, I recognize something very important. When you write a story, the thing that you bring to your story is you. Because we tell every story every story we communicate, right? We've all say the same things in one way or another.
Yes.
But it's how we see the world that makes stories interesting. So you coming on the show, I don't know what to expect. Maybe we talk about your kids. Maybe we talk about your writing. Maybe we talk about coffee. Maybe we talk about flamenco. I don't know. I don't think that far ahead.
And really it's don't. Okay. Exactly. It's okay. Right?
But what matters.
Let me tell you a bit. I am in real life a shy person, a very what you say, keep to myself. Yeah. But somehow I decided to get out there, to start writing, to get onto Twitter, to get onto blogging. And it's something new, and it's how you say, like a dare to myself.
A dare
to put yourself out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when I'm writing, I started writing. I'll go back into how I started the blogging, but when I'm writing, sometimes when I finish, I think, oh my God, why do I have to be telling people about this? But then the responses I've been getting are so good, are so great, that kind of motivates you to continue. Like, okay, good, I'm doing okay. So let me tell you, I am from Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. And I moved to Florida. It's been this year, it's 20 years now that I've been living in Florida. I never traveled. I haven't traveled anywhere else. I've barely been up to, I think I've been up to Georgia, and I traveled to Louisiana recently. I've never seen any other part of the United States. So I usually connect through Facebook to see my family who's still back in Puerto Rico. And I have a cousin she lives in Louisiana now, and she kept insisting, you need to get onto Twitter. You need to get to Twitter. I'm like, I don't care about Twitter. Well, I got into Twitter because I am a big fan. If you follow me, you know it. I'm a big fan of the Hallmark movies, the Hallmark romance movies. So Hallmark one day did a promotion. Join us on Twitter for a live preview of her movie, live premiere, with the actors are going to be tweeting with us. I'm like, really? Okay, let me get onto Twitter. How do I get onto Twitter? So I started tweeting. I started receiving likes from the actors. I started receiving follows. I learned the trick of the hashtag, Never in my life heard of a hashtag. And I started getting followers. I started seeing people with funny nicknames. The girl gone Hallmark, the Hallmark my words. I have a friend, Hallmark Hobby. And I'm like, oh, I can do this. So I created a hashtag for myself. I have a second account I call Hallmark Nerd because I'm a declared, auto-declared nerd.
Mhm.
Books, movies, I love it. So I started reading blogs. And I said, wait a minute, I can do this. I can write stories. I've always loved to write, but I never dedicated myself to writing. So I started my blog. And then with my cousin, I started thinking, what kind of name can I use? What can be unique? While I've been on Twitter, people know that I'm always talking about coffee. It's not that I love coffee, it's that I need coffee. I drink coffee every day. Yes. When people say, oh, do you love coffee? Well, it's actually, I need coffee. I grew up drinking coffee. I need my coffee every day. My family knows. At work, they know. So I started with the coffee. So that's how I came with the name, the Full of Coffee. We started thinking about full of memories, full of love, because I thought, I don't want to write only about Hallmark. I want to write about different topics, whatever comes to mind, whatever I want to show my interest in different things. Full of coffee. So we started playing with full of memories, full of love. And I told her, my cousin, no, I want to include the coffee. How are we going to include the coffee? So all of a sudden we came with Full of Coffee. Storytelling, now I switch it to storytelling with love and coffee, with love and memories and love, something like that. We are life.
Right.
So when I started writing, I wrote a small, and it's actually, you know what? It's actually 2 years ago, 2019. I wrote a small one about how I started, how I became interested in following Hallmark and following Twitter. You know what? I can write. My second blog was about my mom. My mom's birthday is Valentine's Day, and
Okay.
she passed away in 2014. So I have that, good memory of my mom. So I wrote that one. That one got a big response, a huge response. And the other thing I did, if you have visited my blog, I started writing English and Spanish.
Okay.
To post two blogs, to post one in English, and I translated myself to Spanish. And that's been interesting. When I post to Twitter, most of my followers on Twitter are English speakers. When I post to Facebook, most of my Facebook followers are my family and my friends from back home are Spanish speakers. So both posts get attention, both get their views. So it's been interesting. Aside from Hallmark, I started writing about memories from when I was growing up, when we grew up in a rural area, the mountains, running around. We are 6 siblings. So I got a few stories of those there. So I got good response to that. People telling me, oh my God, I remember when I was a child. I remember we went through the same as you. So it's interesting to hear others tell me their stories. I did write a couple blogs about coffee. I did a survey about coffee. Of course, most of my friends are coffee drinkers, but there are a few that don't like coffee, hate coffee. So it's been interesting. Actually, let me ask you, do you drink coffee?
Yes,
How do you like your coffee?
See, I'm a little bit all over the place when it comes to my coffee. So when I am working, I'll take coffee, 2 honey, and a peppermint, either a peppermint tea bag or if I can get actual peppermint, I'll put it straight in the coffee.
Oh, interesting.
So here's the thing about coffee. Coffee's got some really cool medicinal properties to it.
Yeah.
Right? It has some really cool ones. One of them is it actually although by itself it's not strong enough, it's got some really cool stuff to help you breathe. So it's not by itself, it's kind of weak. Now, peppermint, you take peppermint, okay? I usually get it in a tea bag, but it really doesn't matter. You can get it like peppermint and leaf, like, and it doesn't like
Yeah.
really. The tea bag is just the
Anyway,
easiest thing for me to actually get. That's why I use it. But you put peppermint in a coffee. What you do is you create an oxidized coffee, so it makes your coffee stronger. You breathe
interesting.
easier. Your focus goes way up. And the thing is,
Interesting.
the coffee gets stronger the longer it seeps, because again the peppermint is actually making it stronger. Also, interesting note: peppermint in hot sauce. Believe you me, man, it does
Oh,
it does some wonders to hot sauce.
I,
And anybody
I don't
watching,
like hot sauce, so
no,
I'm not
okay,
going to try
maybe
that
not for
one, but
you.
I'll tell my kids.
Maybe
Yeah.
not for you, but anybody watching this, I'm serious. Peppermint with hot sauce, it will do things to your hot sauce you didn't think were possible. It's
I tell my
amazing.
kids,
Yeah,
they love
yeah,
hot
yeah.
sauce.
So just little bit, only a little bit required. Don't do put too much peppermint. It might be like, so that's when I'm working. That's what I drink. When it's more like casual, or it's a little bit more like when I wake up in the morning, I
Yeah.
usually do an extra large triple is what I usually do. And if I'm really feeling like, if I really feel like something like a little bit more like just festive. Although I like I will do the Starbucks thing. I'll go get a venti cinnamon dolce
Yeah.
latte. I like those
Yeah.
things. So I actually do a lot of different coffees.
Yeah.
Um, it really depends on what I have to do, what I need to accomplish in the day.
How you feel?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna get a stronger coffee today. Oh, let me
you're,
just get
or
a
just
soft
something
one, an
fun. Yeah,
easy
something
one.
fun, or if I got a little extra money on the side, it's like, you know what,
Yeah.
just gonna have some fun. Just gonna
Yeah.
have some fun. Because
The
like,
same. The
yeah,
same here. I'm not a big fan of the fancy coffees. I usually make my coffee at home. I like strong coffee. I used to drink 3, 4 cups. I'm now down to one big cup in the morning. If I always say, if you invite me for coffee, I'm gonna say yes. But usually
okay.
I don't drink coffee in the afternoon. Somebody say, "Oh, you want to go for coffee? You want a coffee? Yeah, sure. Let's go for coffee."
So here's one I've had that I think have you ever had Arabic coffee?
Yes,
Yeah, I
that's the
love
one I
it.
drink. Probably.
Sludge. Yeah,
Yeah,
that stuff's pure sludge. That stuff will put
yeah,
hair on your
that's
head.
the one I
Yeah,
drink.
yeah, it will just
Espresso.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I like it's like I love that stuff. Like if I really want it, I like my stuff strong. Like, and
yeah,
even with food,
yeah,
like I like everything strong. I don't necessarily need it to be spicy, but I
yeah.
do want it to be
Some
strong.
spice.
I want to
Yeah,
actually taste it. I don't want this cardboard.
yeah,
Listen, my chocolate's gonna taste like chocolate. My beef's gonna taste like beef. And it's gonna be straw. I just That's just how I am. I look at it like
yes,
this. I life is about experiencing things, and holding back just is not. It's
yeah,
not really in my makeup very
yeah.
much. So
Now it depends because I coffee. I say I like coffee from anywhere. If I don't have coffee in the house, I'll buy from the gas station. I buy from the drive-through. I'll go to the Starbucks when I have a few bucks. Okay, you know what? Tonight I'm gonna get a Starbucks.
okay,
Spicy stuff. I don't like spicy stuff. Not my
that's
tongue.
okay. It's not
My
for
mouth
everybody.
cannot tolerate it. But my kids love spicy. The spicier, the better. My youngest son is now 16. When he was about 9, 10, he started trying, and you see him. You gonna keep eating? Do you
You
want
know,
water? No, no, I'm gonna keep eating. Just give me the water, but I'm gonna keep eating. And if it's anything new, he wants to try it. Even if it's burning his mouth, he wants to try it. So
nice.
so me with the coffee, yeah, I'll drink coffee. I'm not a fan of cold coffee, the iced coffee.
Yeah,
I mean, I can drink one and it tastes like ice cream or a beverage, but I prefer my hot coffee and strong coffee. I
yeah.
come from a family that my grandma used to, both my grandmas used to collect coffee, like plant it, collect it, toast it in the house.
Oh wow,
So we kind of grew up with that. My
you're like
mom,
you're
my
like a
mom used to
connoisseur.
drink, my mom used to drink about 7 or 8 cups a day, but the small cup, just a tiny, maybe 3, 4 ounces. When I went to college, I tried, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop drinking coffee. Oh, that's a lie where people say that coffee affects you. It does affect you because I'm already used to it. So the first week without coffee, my head was pounding. I was like dragging. I'm like, no, I need my coffee. Leave me. Let me have my coffee.
Let me have a coffee.
Yes, yes,
So to make friends with you, just buy you a coffee and we're friends. I got
yes,
you.
yes,
It's totally.
yes,
I totally get that.
yeah.
Okay. No, so coffee. So let's think about this. See, I changed my opinion about you about one thing. You're not
Okay,
shy. You're not shy.
right.
You're not.
I'm following. Listen, I'm following what you just started when we started. You told me forget about people. It's just you and me.
yeah. No, you know what?
When I get self-conscious about, oh my God,
Oh,
people are
I
gonna
get
see
it.
this. People are gonna see me on camera. Oh my God!
No,
And then I get
really.
self-conscious. But we're
I
doing
love.
good. We're okay.
No. I love it. Like you are a very passionate person. Like you're one of those
That's
people that's
yes.
like you, it's almost like for you, it's like you have a dam inside you, and when someone says, "Okay, just go nuts," they're like, "Okay,
Okay.
excellent. I
Yes.
don't worry about that crap." And
And it's
that's
funny because these are things that are coming out now. Now I started saying, you know what? I can do this. You know what? Um, I want to start writing. I want to start sharing stories, and I'm getting a good response. I'm like, okay, I can keep doing this. So my cousin has been doing a Facebook Live. We haven't gotten into blogs yet. So I've been doing Facebook Live with her. She's been telling me, you need to get out there. You need to start chatting with me. I'm like, okay, let's try. So I told her I have the first one in English with Josh. Okay, fine. I'm gonna try this. So let's get out there. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
First off, couple things, couple comments. First, Rich, hey buddy, how you doing? JD, yeah. Listen, I had to have her on the show because so I'm gonna let you know a little secret. I'm a real, as a human being, I'm a big fan of JD Estrada, the man. He's a
Yes.
really, really good dude. I admire the passion and personality he has. He's one of the most helpful guys I've ever met, and
Yes.
I say that with all the love in the world, man. So I'm a fan of him. So he introduces us, I think, what 2 months ago, and I'm like, come on my podcast. And I think he said something, you'll have a good time, and you're like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, just come on, just have fun, be yourself, right? And so I want to say hi to both of them because they're both there. Rich is a really cool dude too. He's an amazing illustrator, very gifted guy. I really am a fan of him as a person. So I mean, I like this is what I do. I like building people up because to me, everybody's got an incredible story.
Yeah.
Everybody, and
Yeah.
and the fact of the matter is, you do too. Like it sounds to me like in your case, you needed a catalyst to give yourself permission to do all these things.
Yeah.
So what was it? Like, was it just a friend? Like, was it just the Hallmark thing, or was there something else to it? Because I get the feeling there's more than that. I think it was just that was your excuse, and
Right.
that's like okay, right. So I get the feeling like in your case in particular, like um, there was definitely like something that told me that okay, I've been holding all this in. Like you've had collected all these stories inside you all these years ago, and suddenly it was like, okay, I gotta let them out now. And I feel like, so what was it? What was that magic moment that made you
I'm gonna
say
say
that?
you see me shaking my head and agreeing with you because it's kind of true. Everything came. I'm a mom. I've been working full time. I've been here in Florida for so long, and I love to study. I love to go to school. I did my bachelor's degree. I didn't finish when I went to college, so I went back to school here in Florida, and I did finish. I
Mhm.
did go on and did a master's degree. So when I finished that, I couldn't find a job in that particular area. I have a master's in counseling,
Mhm.
so I felt like, okay, I need more. What now? Like, okay, I go home and the kids want to do their own thing, and okay, let me get on my Hallmark. And actually, one more thing, when Hallmark recently opened, I think a year ago, they decided to start their own publishing company, and they invited people to write, manuscripts, submit to them. So I started thinking, you know what? I can do that. I can write because I started writing the blog, I said, you know what? I can write my own romance. I can write my story. I did write it. I did finish it. It took me a year. And the funny thing is, it's my first time doing this. I said, you know what? I'm going to write. I have fun with it. And I know you're going to like this. I'm going to mention my main character's name is Josh. It's just a coincidence when you reach to me. The story of Josh and Natalie. So I'm like, okay, Josh wants me to be on his podcast. So yes. So yeah, I decided, you know what? I can do this. I wrote the story. Now I did submit to 3 publishers, including Hallmark. I got 3 rejections, but nice rejections. So you know what? I said, okay, the writing is easy for me. The difficult part is the querying, the sending the stuff, the trying to manage yourself to put it out there. So I know I can do it. It's just a thing that I have to learn. Talking with JD and a couple other writers, I recommended that I can also do the self-publishing, which I can look at that. I'm interested in that, but because it's my first one, I want to see what else can I do with this story? How can it be fixed or refined to get it out there? You understand? So I know it's a good story, but I know it's missing a few things. So I'm like, what do you think? How do you fix this? So, and I'm working on other things, so taking my time to start submitting again. But this year I'm gonna start. Plus, I have another story. What you say, like a draft, like another idea that I want to start writing. I'm more interested in the romance. I like the Hallmark, so I like the happy ending. I like to know that my couple is gonna meet, is gonna get through whatever they're gonna get through, but they're gonna end up together. I don't like mysteries. I don't like horror movies and stuff like that.
So okay, Cthulhu's not.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Cthulhu's not your thing. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this question. This is a big question. Your screen has frozen for some reason, but I can hear you just fine.
Okay. Perfect.
What are your goals as a writer? What do you want to do? Do you want to be published as Hallmark? Do you want as many people to read it as possible? Like, what for you is success?
Well, at this time, I got my first rejection from Hallmark, which is fine, totally fine. I kind of expected it because I knew the story wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. But right now I am looking into any other publisher that goes into romance to publish my story. In the future, I might be, once I learn what I need to fix and how to put things better put together, I'll go through self-publishing. I'm thinking with the self-publishing, I can do my story in English and in Spanish at the same time. So I'm reaching both audiences.
Why not?
So I know that's in the future. It's just that I have to go with what I have now, with the time I have. That's what happened with the blogging. When I told people, oh, I started blogging. Oh, you're going to make money out of it. Okay. How do I make money out of blogging? Oh, in 5 years, you're going to have money. Okay. So right now, I say, how do I make money? How is that? So I started doing the research. So first thing I did last year, I opened my own webpage. I got out, my blog was on WordPress. I'm still working with WordPress, but I opened my own website. And it's moving, it's getting people there. The good thing with the Hallmark post is they attract people. So those people, when they do Google research, Google search for whatever Hallmark topic, my blog comes up. There's one of my blogs, and I wish I could have printed that. There's one blog I did about the royal topic they use, the royalty movies. That's the most read post on my blog. and I did it in English and I did it in Spanish. So both of them are high top. So I know Hallmark is well known everywhere around the world. So I know that brings people into the blog. Then I get with my family stories. How I got with JD, I started posting about Puerto Rico. So
he definitely like
yes,
digs that stuff. Yes.
I haven't been able to go back to Puerto Rico since 2017. 2017 was when Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico. We couldn't go. Now, 2019, 2020, we got this pandemic, the COVID, so cannot go there. So I started feeling homesick. So I started writing about the mountains, about the beaches, about you go here, you go there, my hometown. That's how I connected with JD when I saw him on Twitter, connecting through another friend. And I see his profile picture. I'm like, wait a minute, this guy is from Puerto Rico because that's an image from a hometown. And I'm like, okay, he's not
Oh,
from the hometown. It's just that those are his initials. And I reached out to him. Are you from Puerto Rico? And he's like, yep. And then I started seeing that he was a writer. I started seeing his posts. I started following him. And then he started following me. That's how we connected. So it's fun. It's having fun. Like with you, I connected through you, through Jorge, JD. We connected. Now I'm here with you. And he has a few other friends. We have a few other friends from Puerto Rico that we have connected. I don't know him in person, and I told him, I want to meet you in person. I want to talk to you and see. But of course, with this whole uh, pandemic going on now, we cannot travel. But it's the funny thing with the connection, the social media, the internet. What fascinates me is how many people we can reach just with a little blog, a little post, a little
mhm.
YouTube video, how many people do connect. I have, and I didn't write it down, but I have on my blog, and JD knows this, the thing that fascinates me when I go to see my statistics of visits, how many people from other country connect to my blog. So it's always fun. The only thing I haven't
Yeah.
been able to discover how to do, and I think somebody suggested I can do the Google Analytics, is who's reading in Spanish and who's reading in English. Because that's always interesting to me. Okay, somebody from China connected, somebody in Germany connected. Which one are they reading? Are they Hispanic people reading in Spanish because they live there? Or are they just reading in English? So that is always fascinating with me. Every month I post my flags. I'm always, what fascinates me is that the connection we create, the people that we are reaching, especially now that people are in their houses or have to work from home or have to do lost their job, whatever has happened. So people has come to find entertainment on the internet. So, and that's what we're doing. We'll see how this one goes.
Well, see, it's interesting because this has been a unique time. Like I've connected to people from all over the world.
Yeah.
I literally yesterday interviewed somebody from England. I just met her online just because I follow her freelance newsletter, and we just connected. And I said, "Do you want to come on my show?" And she was gracious, and it was a great interview. I was really proud of that. I've talked to comic book legends. I've talked to people that work at Warner Brothers. I've talked to people like just different people that do
Different
incredible
people.
things, right? Right. And so that's been actually the best part about this time for me. The only thing that's really bad for me is I live in Canada. So one of my grandmothers lives in Detroit.
Okay.
I can't see her, and it kills
Exactly.
me. It kills me because
Yeah.
um, it's just like it's amazing what an imaginary line does. Like it really,
Yeah.
really does, because it's like a border's there. And
Yeah.
if you really sit there and think about it, all these borders are a fiction we kind of believe in.
Yeah.
But that fiction is kept us apart for a year.
Yeah.
And it's been,
Now,
and I've
are
been,
you able? Are you able to talk to her or video chat?
oh,
Or
I can talk, but it's
not
not
the
like,
same, of course.
no, it's not the same. It's like you with your family. Look, the fact that I can talk to her is great. I can talk to her. She might even be watching this right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing about this is, right. The thing about for me in this time though is I recognize, like, for me, I think the hardest thing about this time is I recognize the fact that as a whole, like, our time is finite, and there is a point, for me, where I kind of look at it this way. There's, yeah, it's a virus, it's dangerous and all that stuff, but also the same token, we're it feels like in one sense we've lost time, and
Yeah.
you can't get that back.
Yeah.
And that's the part that really makes me sad, because I mean, on the one hand, it's made me more aware of these things. On
Yeah.
the other hand, I wish, like, I'd give anything to be able just to do that. And, like, I don't know how much longer I'll be here.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me personally, um, where I am at in Canada right now is, while I don't mind it, it's certainly not where I feel most at home with. Um, it's so I'm looking at, like, okay, we'll see what happens in the future in the next weeks, months to
Yeah.
come, but there's going to come a point where I walk away from the city, and I already know this. When I do, I'm hoping I get that opportunity to see her before I go, because
Right.
she's 83 years old, and
Okay.
I don't know how many more opportunities I'm going to get to
Right.
see her.
True. True.
Right, so like, there's a very interesting balance there, and it's going to be interesting. Like, I personally think lockdowns come to an end this year, but not because
Hopefully.
I think
Right.
that we're going to be out of the pandemic exactly. I just think there comes a point where it's a diminishing return. There, like, yes, we're living, but if we're not connecting to each other, the people that really matter to us,
Right.
there comes a point where that, like, how long? A week, like another year,
Exactly. How much
2 years,
longer? Right.
you're right, 2 years, a decade,
Yes.
and all that time is going to go past. So I kind of see it that way. Like, regardless of whether there's a vaccine or no vaccine or any
Yeah.
of that stuff, I do feel like we're going to come to our limit with what we're doing right now. Now, this doesn't mean we're going
Yeah.
to have restrictions going into the next year and a half. We do. And another person is showing up. It's Jag Tress. Hi, Jag. What's up? This is
Okay.
this is Nydia. Nydia. Sorry, I'm
Nydia.
sorry. Yeah, Nydia.
That's
She's
okay.
amazing. She's amazing. Right now, we're just talking. We're talking about family. She's a badass Puerto Rican. I'm going to hit her with a really hard question in about 5 minutes. Not regarding not COVID, but her writing career. It's a fun question. But what I was saying is, like, I think there's going to come a point, I think, this year where we're going to be like, okay, we got to do something different,
Yeah.
regardless. Now, however we do it, well, I mean, do I think we come out of it fully this year? No, I don't.
No.
But I do think we're going to have to make a shift one way or the other sooner or later. And like I said, I look at the fact that, again, I'm just looking at now. I may not be able to travel to the States, probably, and I almost don't expect to be able to travel to the States for another year or two
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, I'll still be here. Don't worry about it.
Now I'm seeing his message. I'm going to grab food. I'll be back. Okay.
Yes,
Bring us
that's on my
something.
Twitch. That's on my Twitch.
Bring
While
us
we're doing
coffee.
that, while we're doing that, right? While we're doing that, we'll check. A couple people have responded on my Facebook. Mandy Eve Everett says, like, dual languages is great, and it's actually amazing that you've done dual language stuff
Yes.
with your
Thank you.
thing. It's really cool. The fact that how to do how the JD does. I love connecting people. He does. He's really good at it. He's almost
Yes.
good at it. Actually, he might be better at it than I am. But actually, I was going to ask this because you're doing romance, and the interesting thing about romance is there's a lot of indie authors that do it
Yes.
better than the publishers do it.
Yes.
So my question is this. I think, because I think we gotta be honest about something. I feel deep down on the inside, you want to be published by Hallmark. And I think deep down inside, that's where your drive is, that's where your focus is. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like that's why you haven't gone indie. you want to break, you want Hallmark. Like there's
Well,
always
I
a
I
happen
wish,
that
yeah, that's my, you said it, that's my dream. It would have been my dream. I know this first one is not gonna be Hallmark. They already said no. So I'm looking for other options, other publishers, just to see what happens, what they say.
Mhm.
I had a couple of friends. Okay, so I sent my manuscript to two friends, personal friends. And of course, they love the story. Of course, because it comes from me. Oh my God, how beautiful. I love the story. Okay, did you see? Does it make sense? Do you think it's, no, it's super good. I love it. Okay, fine. You are my friend. You're telling me you love it. So I send it to two writer friends that I met on Twitter that I have interviewed on my blog. Okay, that's another thing when I try to connect with people. My question is, how did you get to where you are right now? How did you get to writing? How did you get to, so if I'm going to get you on my blog, I'm going to ask that. How did you get to uh, blogging, to live streaming? You are a writer too. How did you get to writing? So I send it to two other writer friends, as I just need your opinion, any constructive criticism you have for me. And they gave me good criticism. I'm like, okay, awesome. Now I know I can fix this, but I'm still looking. I don't know. Maybe I just need to get out there and dare myself to do it. It's just the insecurity
I,
of being a
I,
first time writer, thinking if I put it out there, it's not going to be good enough, even though my friends are telling me it's good.
it's
Like the
not.
validation of somebody who knows, of any other publisher, to tell me, okay, this is a good story. This is what we're going to do to fix it. Of course,
Well,
I dream with Hallmark. But eventually, if I send another story, I might send it to Hallmark first too.
you know,
So we'll see.
it's what you want, and it's
Yeah.
okay if that's what you want. Look, I just, here's my belief. Okay, everybody should just be honest with what they want with themselves. That's all. Like no more, no
Yeah.
less. It doesn't. There's not necessarily a right or wrong answer in terms of what your publishing goals are.
Yeah.
What, right? But it's about what you want. Like every publishing route has their pros and their cons. Every publishing route, I mean, benefits can benefit you one way or the other, right? But it's about being honest about what you want. Like for you, and this is just how I see it and how I feel it with you. You're such a fan of the Hallmark company and what they do and how they present. My gut tells me that the ultimate dream for you is a
Would
movie
be,
about one of your stories. It doesn't
yes.
matter which one, right?
Let me
But
tell you another story. One of the first the first ever first interview I did, because I was just writing about my stories, about my memories, and then I started writing about why I love romance, why I love Hallmark, and the different that topic I did about the royalty movies. I had a writer. I had a writer reach out to me. Hey, listen, if you're interested, I can do an interview with you. I'm gonna have a Hallmark pick my book to do a movie. And I was like, oh my God, really? Of course I'm interested in doing an interview. So I did get called her and send her my questions. And then she sent me, we did an extra blog, like a guest blog of her experience behind the cameras. She went to Canada, they flew her there to see the filming, to see the change they did to her book. She was just thrilled about it, about that. That was my first one, like, oh my God, I can do this. So that's how I started reaching out to other people. Hey, you're a writer. I want to know about your story. I want to know how you do this. Couple of them, let's see, I've done like six. So a couple of them have gone through publishers. The other people have gone through indie. That lady, she does her own publishing, but she has her own. She has done like 7 or 8 books now. So she did a series. She has somebody working with her, editor and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, that's something that I can do. It's just the process that I have to. I'm still working my full time. I still have my kids, so I still have to create time. When I get home, I haven't worked on my other story. I haven't submitted any other to any other publisher because I'm still working on few things. Started working on my own web page. It's not that easy.
No, it's not.
It took a process. You had to accommodate this. You had to do this topic. Awesome. What now? So I'm in that stage, like in what now? What's next? I still want to keep publishing my blog. My ideal will be do a post a week. That's what I was trying to do. But sometimes the weeks get there. I'm like, okay, this is not ready. Let me tell you, always have a bunch of drafts. I have like 10 drafts right now that I know anytime I get an idea, I go in and do a little writing. Okay, I'll finish that later. Let me move on to the next one. Until I get into that stage of, okay, I'm comfortable with this. Let me start throwing out the manuscript again and get to probably try the self-publishing. I see JD has like 10, 12 books, different stories, different topics. He does genre. He's done fantasy. He's done poetry. I think he has a story for kids, middle school age.
Yeah.
Different topics that his brain works with that. So I go with the romance, but I know there's people out there like me. So
well, I've interviewed a lot of romance authors, and one of the things I actually have a lot of respect for them because one, well, okay, I'm going to ask this question just as a little bit, just friend, how quote unquote clean is your story?
Oh no, clean. My stories are
clean. Okay, very clean.
Very clean. Yes.
Okay. Either way,
I read other stories that are not.
Yeah, I absolutely know that there are.
There's a movie on Hallmark that I love it in Hallmark, and it's from a book. Let me go read the book. Wow, how did they get this story to clean up to show in Hallmark? Because the book is kind of spicy. It's not clean,
Yeah,
I'm like, how did they get this story to go into Hallmark? So,
well,
mine is clean. Mine is clean.
Okay, so
sweet romance. What they call sweet romance.
Okay, they call it sweet romance. Okay, so whether it's sweet romance, whether it's the dirty kind, it takes great skill to. Romance is ultimately about fantasy. The fantasy of love, the fantasy of sex, the fantasy of relationship, the fantasy of it's a fantasy, right? Yeah. And it's a good one. Like there are some great. So I read fantasy, like actually as in science fiction and fantasy, but there's points where romance and fantasy actually kind of cross over depending on who the author is. So like, for example, Alana Andrews, someone I have read, both, like she's urban, what they call urban fantasy, which is like kind of like in the middle there. And there's some stuff that's quite raunchy in her stuff, in those stories. But there's also some really good fantasy. Like it's a really good story. It takes great skill to put that stuff together. Doesn't I think honestly, considering the fact that romance stories of all kinds are the biggest sellers in fiction, period.
Yes.
Right? They honestly don't get enough respect. And that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I also, it just so happens to be for me, I got invited because of this podcast. I got invited to interview the Alberta Romance Writers Association at the time, and those are some of the sweetest women out there. They're incredibly nice and talented people. Some of them are, man, a couple of them had me blushing like a schoolboy, like really just like totally making me blush because it's not impossible. It can be done, and they're really good at it. There's a few of them that are notorious for it, but they're such. But the thing is, I learned this a long time ago too. Is that okay? It might not be for me. So what? Who cares, right? The fact of the matter is, you do it. You love what you do.
Yeah.
It makes it no less valid than what I do, right? And at the same token, you have this ability. You have this ability to make an impact on people, telling your story just like I do. It doesn't make you any more or less different. It just makes you, right? It makes, again, everybody's got their things, right? Go Indy now is just commenting it, right?
I see it now. Yes.
Right. And he's totally like, yeah, romance is an incredible skill set because it really is. Like, it's not it's not an easy genre to get
And see
into.
his point at the end of the line there, his comment, people read romance because it's a way for them to escape.
Absolutely, it's a
And
fantasy.
that has been my escape. That has been my point where my kids are watching their sports. They watch wrestling, they watch other stuff. Okay, I can watch that with them, but I
Yeah,
need something for me. So
absolutely.
I love reading my romance books. I love reading, just so you know, I love Harry Potter.
Okay,
So
that's
I
not
love
bad.
reading the book. I love watching the movie. So when I started watching Hallmark, I like, okay, I like this movie. Okay, so I started watching and I see my main couple at the end of the movie, whatever silly trouble they have to go through, but they're gonna end up together. So that's like, okay, I like this. Some people say, oh, that's silly. That's just a ridiculous
Oh,
story. So what? I like it. I like my couple ending up together.
yeah. So I
And
mean,
that's like he says, that's an escape, that's a fantasy.
yeah.
The other thing, when we started talking and I told you the writing for me was easy because your imagination let it go wherever you want it to go, make it whatever you want it to go. I heard you on another podcast, you were talking about you writing a story about a cupcake
Yes,
eating
right.
people, and I'm like, in my head, because I'm a very imaginative people, I'm like, I can imagine that cupcake. You remember the Ghostbusters movie, the Michelin guy, the whatever guy coming down?
Yeah.
It was the monster. So I'm thinking
Yeah,
of the cupcake.
yeah,
Oh
no,
my
no,
God,
no.
let your imagination run. Let the thing for me is you're writing a story, let it make sense. It makes sense to you, it makes sense to other people. Put it together nicely. And that's why I said for me, writing was easy because I was just following. I knew when I started writing my story, I based it on what if I broke up with my boyfriend from high school. I never talked to him again. So I started thinking, what if I have, we have met each other again? What if I went back to my home? And I started writing. And I knew in my story I wanted them to be together. The trouble for me was writing what kind of trouble I'm going to give them, how I'm going to make them crash. That was the trouble in my writing book, but I was able to get through. The other trouble was I'm first time writer. So the word count. Oh, you have to have a word count. That kind of threw me off. Like, let me just write. Why do I have to have a word count? So
Yeah.
that kind of put me on. Let me go back. Let me start reading and myself make sure it makes sense. I knew what my end was gonna be, so I kind of put it together, and it came out nice. So I just need the courage to put it out there.
Yeah.
I started reaching out to other people. So this year I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to start again, throw it out there and see what happens. Eventually, maybe I'll go in indie if I don't get a publisher. But it's the first one, so that's why I'm looking for a
Yeah.
publisher. It's
Okay.
just a validation that, yeah, this is a good story. We're going to put it out there.
So
Be positive about it. I'm going to get that.
I've decided you're a very sweet person. I've decided that. No, I'm serious. I've decided that you're an incredibly sweet person.
Thank you.
Um, because I think so. Can I give you only? I'm going to give you only one piece of
Yes.
advice.
All
Just
the advice I can get, sure.
no. It's the only one I think you actually need. You realize this. I think you realize it, but it hasn't fully sunk in yet.
Yeah.
You don't need anyone's permission. And I say that because honestly, it sounds to me like, okay, yeah, you have goals. Like you do want to get in the wall. I'm going to say it. If you don't, you want a Hallmark movie with one of your
I
books.
do. I do. Yes.
And that's totally valid.
That would be a dream come true, of
It would
course.
be. No, it
Yes.
totally would be. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have that dream, but this is what I feel like with you. I think what you should do is find a romance. I can actually recommend it. When this is over, I'll contact a couple of my friends. I'll see if I can actually introduce them to you. One
Awesome.
person in particular, I think, would be a great benefit to you.
All right.
Her name is Tracy Posey. You should look her up. She does
Yes.
Tracy Cooper Posey. She is a romance writer. She's released over 100 books in like
Oh
three,
my
4 years.
God.
Like she writes a book every 6 weeks. She's got it down to a science. It's It's what she does. That's all she does. She's an amazing human being too. But she does romance primarily.
Yeah.
She does a few other things too, but she does
Yeah.
romance. Romance is her bread and butter. And I feel like in your case in particular, I think what you need more than anything else, you still kind of need permission. But I think what I would like to change, I don't think you need a publisher's permission. I think what you just need is somebody that is in kind of your thing, going, go for it.
Yeah.
So I'm
All
making
right.
this offer right now. I will go talk to my friends and see if they will give you the permission to go for it. Because I think you need to find out. I think
Yeah.
you have, look, based on just our conversation here,
Yes.
right? You have plenty to say. And I mean, and they're like you're passionate, you're vibrant, you want to share everything. That makes you an incredibly gifted storyteller already without even
Thank
trying.
you. Yes.
So just, you know what? Just do it. And you know
Yeah.
what? Let Hallmark come to you, because
Yeah.
that also you can,
Yes.
right? Hey, you never know.
It might happen.
No,
Exactly.
hey,
Yeah.
stranger things have happened. So I mean, just like that's the only advice I'm going to give you, because I think don't wait. Like one thing that we said earlier, and I'm going to say this again: time is short, right?
Yeah.
And but life is short. I say this all the time.
Yeah.
Life is
True.
short on time, but it's big on possibilities. You can go
Yes.
so many different places, and actually, I was reminded of that today. Actually, of all things, I'm doing some, and I'm calling it temp work, even though it's technically a day job. It's temp work. Already know this. The number
Yeah.
of days I'm going to work there, I can count on two hands.
Yeah.
The reason being is one of the things I realized for me is I have to learn to say no to still learn to say no to some things too,
Yeah.
regardless of the situation. I think it's the opposite. You need to say yes. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's jump. Let's leap.
Yeah.
Let's fly. Let's see where this will take me. Because even failure in of itself
Yeah.
doesn't
Through failure,
necessarily,
you learn. Yeah.
you learn. Exactly. And I think you're ready. I think you're ready. And I say this just as a guy that's just interviewing you,
Yes.
that you already right. I'm sure. Look, I'm sure some people that are watching this and listening to this will tell you the same thing I am. Like, you can do this, and I think you could do it well on your own. I know what you want, and I'm saying
Thank you.
don't stop that. Don't stop that. But also, just like, you know what?
Open up to
Just
other possibilities. Yeah.
open, but just do it, because look, every one of us has to like, okay, I've been traditionally published. I've been hybrid, like independent indie published. Like, published is published. And the fact of the matter is, right, you'll have a story. I can already tell this. You're proud of what you've already done. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens at the end result. You did it. And that, I think, is huge with you.
Yeah.
So that's why I say go for it. That's my advice. Take it for what you will. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Listen, if JD's still watching this, JD would probably say the
Would say the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Just go for it.
This has been amazing. The time I have met him, every time I have a question, hey, he's always say, reach out to me. Hey, what do you think of this? And he comes back. You should do this. You should do this other thing. Okay, let me try that.
Mm-hmm.
I say I'm doing this podcast with you live, and I haven't stopped smiling, because it's been, you see the positive impact of others, the positive impact of the social media. Ever since I started writing, it's been 2 years. I always get positive people. Some people say, oh, some people are going to be negative. Some people are going to be rude to you. No, all I've got was positive, has been positive.
I don't want
feedback.
anybody that's negative to you. I really don't. No, I don't. 'Cause I almost feel like I almost like legitimately. I actually would wonder what kind of drugs
Right.
they're on, or what kind of monster they are. Because honestly,
Right. And that's what kind of makes me feel guarded, kind of feel like, how do I do this? How do I get out there? But yeah, you're right. I just need to get out there the same way I started blogging. just get out there, just get little by little. So I know I can do this. It's just the little steps, that little jump I have to do outside of my comfort zone. So
So I'm gonna say this just as a just like I'm serious. I don't want to meet the person that's negative to you because I honestly think they probably aren't worth my time. Your passion's contagious. Like, and
thank you.
I mean, and that's I'm doing that. Like, it is a super contagious thing. I could not help it because you come out. I remember. So I'm gonna go behind the scenes. She goes to me offline. Lays. I'm nervous. Like you could tell she was
Yeah.
nervous,
Yeah.
right, when you started. When you started, but also just like she's like, what are we gonna do? She's like, just be yourself. Don't worry about it, and just talk. And I'm like, I don't have to do anything. This is fantastic.
It has been, yeah, it has been a good.
Yeah. So
We almost had the hour, so it's been a good hour of us chatting about different things,
yeah.
and
So let's.
I'm happy I'm happy I did it. I'm happy, glad that you invited me. Thank you so
Oh,
much. Yeah.
I'm happy and glad I invited you too. I actually really, really happy and glad. So I got a couple of questions for you.
Go ahead.
So if I had to pin down, close to the end, Jag, but not quite. We still
Just in time. Just in time.
just in time. I'm going to hit her with some really hard questions. Um, so here's what I'm going to ask you. You've done 6 interviews so far. Okay. So, what's been your favorite thing you've learned doing them?
All of them. I loved all of them because I get to know the process of the person. I can tell you, I love reading. I love reading from when I was a child. I grew up in rural, so we didn't have access to cable. So it was kind of opening your imagination to these characters. So getting to know other people, did that influence your desire to write? How they go through the process, how they go through the first published book. That's one of my main questions. How did you react when you had that first published book, either indie, self-published, or with a publisher? What's your next step? There was a guy I asked recently. He's not a writer, he's a musician from Puerto Rico. And I asked him, with the pandemic, has halted so many projects, has stopped so many people from going out. And he said, no, for me, it's the opposite. It has helped me sit down to write. It has helped me connect with people through internet, like you're doing, like with YouTube channels and podcasts. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. There's another friend I interviewed from Puerto Rico. She said the same. Why are you talking about that? The pandemic has stopped people. It hasn't stopped me. She's choosing places to go, where to do, and writing her next project. So it's interesting to see the perspective of what people think and getting to know those people. So I love doing that because I get to interview them, get to know them, but I get to present to others. Here, know my friend. This is my friend from Puerto Rico. I have a bunch of friends, writers here in the States, that I reach out to them and they have responded to me. So it's good to see that connection with other people. I don't say anymore. I used to say, I'm the writer. I'm just a starter. No, I'm a writer. It's just that I need to get out there. It's my first, right? It's my first manuscript by blog. So I'm a blogger now. So
you're a blogger extraordinaire. That's right. Blogger, interviewer.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be evil. I'm gonna ask an evil question. We're gonna go back to the blog. Your favorite Hallmark movie?
It's so difficult to pick a favorite. And I say that on Twitter all the time. I have met a couple guys that watch Hallmark, and one of them told me, "Oh, I haven't watched that movie. I haven't watched that movie because somebody said it wasn't a good one." And I always say, you need to watch it yourself to decide if you like it or not. There's one movie, couple movies that they are fan favorites. I don't like them. And one time I say, okay, you know what? I'm going to try Twitter. Let's see what happens. I'm being honest. I don't like this movie because of this. And 3-4 people told me, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. This is a fan favorite. I don't like it. Now, I love I don't know if you watch Hallmark,
I'm not
but
cool for
you
Hallmark.
probably know Lacey Chabert, the girl from Mean Girls, and she was on Party of Five.
Yeah.
That's how I got to Hallmark. Oh, I love Lacey Chabert. So most of her movies, I love them. I love her movies um, because she comes so sweet and so um, sweet girl and so hurt when they hurt her. So I'm like, okay, cool.
So
Go ahead.
do you want to hear my Hallmark story? Mine's a little different than everybody else's.
Go ahead.
Actually, one of the reasons I used to live in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah.
The Hallmark movies are by and large all filmed there.
Yes.
Right? If you're a film crew and you can get on Hallmark, you're set. Because they always
They
are
come
doing
back. Yeah.
yeah. And so that was actually my goal, because it's steady work. Because you meet, like, there's actually some really good actors that regularly do work for them,
Yes.
right? Because it is a steady gig. It's something that's
Yeah.
it's something that I was like, and it's a heck of a way to learn how to do a movie. Because say what you will, as formulaic as Hallmark is,
Yes.
they know what the hell they're doing.
They
They
know.
really do.
And the thing,
So
like I was telling you, it had exploded since they started doing the Facebook and the
yeah.
Twitter, reaching out on a commercial saying, join us on Twitter, join us on Facebook. And people go and reach out to them. And I have met so many friends, and I call them friends based, like Twitter friends, online friends. People from Michigan, people from Wisconsin. I usually say I'm from Puerto Rico. I've never seen snow. I've never been in a snowfall. And they say, oh, come to Minnesota, come see it with me. Come to Colorado, see it with me.
Mhm.
So it's kind of interesting. And I did go on a trip to meet people from Hallmark, from Hallmark fans. There's a group, the movie series is called Sign, Seal, Deliver. So they call themselves the Postables. It's related because they are U.S. Postal Service, the mail service. And they
Mhm.
kind of detectives to find out what happened with the story, what happened with this letter. There's a big group of fans that follow them. So I joined them. I joined the crew. I joined the fun on Twitter. They were coming. There's a lady from California that I appreciate so much. They were coming to Florida. And I said, if you're coming to Florida, let me know. I'll drive. I'll go anywhere. They were coming to Gainesville. It's like 2-3 hours from me.
Mhm.
I drove to go meet them. So I thought I was only going to meet a couple of them because, okay, there's a lady that lives there. There's a lady that's coming from California. There was a group, like 20 people there. When they opened the door, they were in a hotel, like a conference room.
Yeah, okay.
It was like a surprise party. Surprise! Hi, Nydia's here. I'd never met any of these people, and all of them were so friendly, so
Yeah.
nice, giving me hugs. I'm not a hugger person. I've become a hugger now. Like, oh my God, yes. And my question was, okay, where are you coming from? From Indiana. Where are you coming from? From Chicago. Different group of people that reach out to each other, that get to meet, all thanks to Hallmark. So Hallmark has the cliche of the formulaic movies, the ridiculous stories, whatever, but people reach out to each other, making friendship. The actors are on Twitter. They know their fan base. There's a few of them. I can't tell you names right now, but there's a few of them that are always interacting with the
Yeah.
fans. Every time I get a like, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, they gave me a like, I got a like, oh my God, I got a comment. So
And he
it's
doesn't
funny
follow
to
you on
see that.
Twitter?
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that. Yes.
Yeah. So I have actually, like, for me, I do have someone I listen to on a regular basis actually follows me on Twitter, and I thought that was a really cool moment for me.
Right.
Right, it's a really really cool moment for me because, not so I listen to a musician called Lights primarily for music, but the other person I listen to is Diane Birch, and I think Diane's like incredibly gifted. Like, she's an amazing storyteller with her music, and she follows me on Twitter. She's an incredibly
You're like, oh
talented
my God. Yeah.
person.
You get that
Yeah,
moment that,
I'm I'm a big yes, Jag. I'm a big Lights fan. I really am. She's on my list of like 10 people I really want to interview. She's on that list. Incredible storyteller. But
Yes.
but no, honestly, and I have talked to her. She's really cool. But the thing about
She's amazing. He
no, she
says,
really
yeah.
is.
Okay. I wrote the name down, so I'm gonna look her up. Yeah.
no, she's an incredibly gifted storyteller. I like
Yeah.
whether she does music or comics.
Yeah.
I loved Skin and Earth. Her comic was really good, and I actually just did an interview with. I actually did an interview with like another comic book creator who also was a musician. Yeah, I know. We both love Final Fantasy
Game.
13. That's what we have in common. But the thing about music is, and comics is they go together incredibly well. And
Yeah.
so that, again, she's someone I really want to interview. But Diane Birch was the other one. Like she's super talented.
Yeah.
The album I really like listening to is called Bible Belt. It's not what you think it is. It's not like a Christian. It's just some really, really amazing songs. And I found her, and she's like, my God, and she followed me, and she's just an amazing.
That's your fan moment. You feel like, oh my God, this person's following me. Oh my God, she talked to me. You know that guy, Jason Priestley, who was on Beverly Hills 90210?
Yeah.
I loved that series back then. So one time I said, you know what? I'm going to follow what others are doing. I'm going to tag him. Luke Perry recently passed away. He was on a Hallmark movie, and I saw him. I'm like, oh my God, that's Luke Perry from 90210. So I went on Twitter and wrote, I love Luke Perry. I love this movie, but I wish Jason Priestley, and I tagged him, would be on one of the Hallmark movies. He not only liked my comment, he replied to me that has directed a couple of them, but yeah, it's also his wish to be in a Hallmark movie. Mm-hmm. That was me for a month, like telling everyone, oh my God, Jason Priestley responded to me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that little connection, even though he might not remember later on who he responded to. It's that little moment that he gave me that response that made me, oh my God, I'm a fan. I'm going to keep going to Twitter.
So here's your next step now. This is the next one. And if you do enough interviews, you'll get there. You're going to start realizing that it doesn't matter who you're interviewing, right? They're just people, but they're incredible people.
Yes.
They're people. And the best thing you can do, the best impression you can make with anybody is to treat them like a great human being.
Yes.
Because almost always, right? Almost always they respond to that, especially the more successful ones. Because that's the one thing they don't get as often when you get to the top is you recognize the fact that once you get to a certain level, there's a lot of people that want to take from you. But if you actually can be just really genuine with people and you can keep that the whole way, you find some incredible moments in life. You really do. Yes. It's almost, so I'll give you mine. I'll give you my all-time favorite one. There's an interview I did way back, like about 2 years ago. So I went to a convention, and it was the year I won the award for my podcast. And that the night before, I met a guy by the name of Spider Robinson. And Spider Robinson is a legendary science fiction author. He is incredibly, like he's amazing. Like one of the best writers I've ever read. So I ended up giving him an Aurora pin, his new Aurora pin, because I got my first Aurora pin that weekend. So it was a really cool moment right there and then. I went to his concert. He did a Beatles thing, and let me tell you guys out there, the Beatles is super hard to cover. They really do some amazing stuff. He did that, and I watched that show, and then the next day, I was supposed to interview the guest of honor at that show. Now, he stiffed me. To be fair, he really wasn't having a good time at that con, and there were some things the con did that just they should have thought some obvious stuff should have happened, didn't. He was in a bad mood. I kind of got the shaft of it.
Yeah.
So I passed by the lobby of the hotel, and Spider's checking in, and I thought to myself, "Fuck it. If the worst he can say is no. Worst he can say is no." So I go up to him and I go, "Hey, listen, I do a podcast. Would you love to come on my show?" Yes. He said yes. He gave me his phone number. He gave me his email. I, and honest to God, I got to talk to a legend,
Awesome.
and
Yeah.
all because I treated him like a human being,
Yeah.
and we had like this amazing. I dug it because it was this was a guy that has done. He's had dinner at the White House. He's a grandmaster in science fiction,
Wow.
and we talked about those things, but we also talked about the fact that he really loves his wife, and his wife had passed on, and
Wow.
like he was just an incredible human being, and I am grateful more than words can put
Yeah.
into it that I had that opportunity, and all because I treated him decently. That's
Yeah.
it. I was really nice to him, and he's a really nice guy. Like I mean, the
Pero
spider,
ya está
but
last
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
is a really really nice guy. But that to me, like, so then I guess maybe the second, never be afraid to ask because you never know what you
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so we talk coffee, we talk Hallmark, we talk that you should be an indie author on top of your Hallmark aspirations and world domination.
Yes.
So, why don't you tell people about your blog for now, and why you figure out your manuscript stuff,
Yes.
and then I'll ask you one super hard question, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pin
I'll
you.
let you ask it. I don't know if I have a response for you, but
No,
you can
so
ask.
okay,
All right. So my blog is fullofcoffeeblog.com. I used to be on WordPress, but it's now my own standalone page, fullofcoffeeblog.com. I have a page on Facebook. So if you like Facebook, some people say, "Oh, I don't like Facebook. I don't go to Facebook." I am on Facebook, Full of Coffee Blog, the same. I recently started Instagram, the same. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I post a picture. Okay, fine. Full of Coffee Blog. And Twitter, I go by the handle Nydia Raquel 25. 25 is my birthday. And the Nydia Raquel, as we were talking at the beginning, is my auntie's name and my mom's name combined.
okay.
I love my name. Josh pointed out, I sign up as Nydia Alvarado because that's my family's name. I always go with Nydia Alvarado. So Nydia Raquel Alvarado, yeah, that's me. I have blogs coming up about my family, about the Alvarados, about the barrios, all my family. I did a post about my DNA. I did Ancestry DNA. That's a very interesting one. Look it up. And the last one I did was about myself. How did I get from Puerto Rico to Florida? And that was kind of a dare. How do I tell the story? Um, do I talk about this? Do I not talk? So it's a sweet, like you say, it's a sweet, clean post about how I got to Florida. Um, he mentioned there the Lost Letters Mysteries. Yeah, that's the Signed Seal Delivered Lost Letter Mysteries. Some of the main actors on that series are from Canada. Christine Booth, Jeff or Greg, I forgot his name, Gustafson, and Crystal Lowe, and then Eric Mabius is from here, from the United States. I'm promoting them now because I love them. I started writing posts about them too, about the movies, because they have like 10 movies, 10, 11 movies. So I'm doing blog about them. Yeah, his grandmother loves them.
Well, her grandmother,
You see, somebody likes Hallmark like I
or
do. So
you know what? Everybody likes that. So here's the hard question. I know you've only done a handful of interviews so far. Which one's your favorite, if you have one?
which one? Which
Is
one? What?
which one of your interviews you've done on your blog is your favorite?
Oh my goodness!
I told
You
you
know
this
what?
one.
I'm gonna say JD,
Okay.
because JD was not a romance writer. He was somebody from Puerto Rico, so I kind of wanted to know, how did you get here? How did you get to writing? We, on his page, he talks to me about his grandpa and his mom, how he grew up in San Juan, and that was interesting. How he gets into surfing, I didn't know. A little bit of everything. That his books, when I started looking him up, I'm like, oh my God, you have so many books that he self-published. So that's why we created a great connection, and that's why I go to him. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Like you're saying now, has told me the same thing. I should go for it and go ahead and start publishing. So I'm getting to that process. Let me see how else can I do this. Let me see how am I going to move about this. So yeah, if I decide to go indie, if I decide to self-publish, I'm going to do my both English and Spanish, because I have that opportunity that I can translate myself. Another curious thing you haven't asked me, but I'm going to tell you, I dominate Spanish better than English, but I write first in English, then translate to Spanish, because I want to write the way I understand it, the way I can interpret whatever I'm writing, and then I go and tell it in Spanish. So it's kind of different. Like some people go to their main language and they go translate. I'm going to find something that I don't understand and that doesn't sound good to me. No, I do it the other way. I write in English first. So my manuscript is in English right now. So I will go from that story and translate to Spanish if I decide to go the indie way, which will be interesting because I can do 2 books at a time. I can do 2 and get that out there in the romance land. So
okay, so I'm going to go down one last path with you before we wrap up, then, because this is something I'm very aware of. Hablo español poquito. Je parle français comme ci comme ça. Je ne parle pas français en 27 ans. So I'm very rusty when it comes to my French.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, one thing I do I can see it like this, and that's this. Because Spanish is such a beautiful language, right? Because Spanish is such a very, 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 very beautiful language. And the imagery, even French, like French and Spanish are both very similar. That's very beautiful. Yeah. The romantic languages, yes, they're the romantic.
The same way, Italian too.
But they do divert a little bit, but they both paint vivid images. And I'm it depends. Okay, so Jay, I'm just going to say this: French, and Spanish they both of them formally are both amazing languages.
Yes.
Quebec French is. I don't want to pick on my French Canadian friends. It's definitely been like the culture, where you live impacts what your language is like, right? So that's all I'm going to say. Like it does follow. English is definitely.
He took Spanish in high school. Good.
So did I, Jag. But the Spanish you generally learn in high school, unless they've changed since I took it, is from Mexico. And don't get me wrong, Mexico's also got a very beautiful Spanish language.
Yes.
But it's different than what you get.
It's the same.
I can't say that, Jay, because people might come beat me. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's cool. I didn't. I learned when I took it. I learned. When I took it, it was just the Mexican. When I took Spanish,
cool. I would like to learn French. I would love to learn French.
It's not actually. You know what? Honestly, when I talk sometimes in French, I'll shift to Spanish and vice versa because they're not that different. They're not that different. And I'll catch myself right, and I'm like, oh my god. What the hell did I just say? Right?
My kids,
I started in French and then I did Spanish. Right?
Don't learn French. I want to learn French.
No.
I have French. I have French in my ancestry DNA. I have French too. 1%, 2%. So I want to learn French.
I will say this. Right? You probably know more French than you realize. You probably do because it's not that different. But yeah, what I was going to say is because you do so many you write your story in English, then you go to Spanish. Is it like you're telling 2 different stories sometimes? Because the imagery and the thought of how you're telling your story from one to the other is so different.
Yes.
Right.
And what you were just talking about, the French and the English, it happens the same in Spanish. Each country has the dialects, has their different words that mean different things. Mm-hmm. So when I usually go to translate, if I use the app, it gives me words that, okay, I know what that means, but I have to put it in. Sometimes I put it in the parentheses, okay, car, carro, auto, different words. I'm gonna mention. I haven't mentioned her. My sister lives in Spain. She moved there like 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
She does a YouTube channel, Hilda from Spain, Hilda Hilda, and she had that first shock that when she went there, she would call things one name, and they will correct her like, no, that's not what we call it, this is the correct name. And she's like, interesting, the difference. Even in Puerto Rico,
Mm-hmm.
people from the north, they call something a nickel, and we call it another name in the south. My town is closer to south, so even in the Puerto Rico we have different names for different things. So when I'm translating, I'm trying to be polite, political, you would say, polite, like try to be the international language that everybody understand, that it's not only from Puerto Rico, but people call it from different names. So if I find that on the translation, I add it. So when I translate, I go with my thought.
Okay.
Let's see what was it that I meant to say here, and I go fix it both at the same time. Okay, let me correct it in English. That's not what I meant to say. Let me go back to the Spanish. So it's funny how it works.
Because...
And the other thing I was gonna tell you, it's funny. I learned English in Puerto Rico. My dad went to the army. My dad speaks with a heavier accent than I do.
Of course.
My kids grew up here, so my older son, he has both English and Spanish. My younger son prefers English.
Mm-hmm.
They will correct me, like they will correct me pronunciation if I said something wrong. You said it wrong, and you have to say it this way. Oh, thank you for doing that. Because when you're learning, and I learned that during my master's degree, what he calls your native language is called your mother language. That's the language you learn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one you're gonna dominate, because that's the one you most common use. Words that you don't know, you're gonna find out what do they mean and use them. In English, you don't know. Some words that I read, when I'm reading, I read it in Spanish. Okay, in Spanish, all the vocals have the same sound. So I go read it, transition, Spanish. Okay, then I have to go look, how do you pronounce that? How do you change the C, the H, the E, the I? They say, oh, there's a silent E. There's no silent E in Puerto Rico. So like, I'm going to say, I can't think of a word, but Altamonte, no, it's Altamont. Like for me, it's Altamonte because it has an E at the end. So different things like that. Some people get easier doing it, like get to the English right away or to the Spanish. And some people get blocked and cannot do it. Like, no, that's too difficult for me. My difficulty is math. I cannot deal with math. But if you give me a book, if you give me the instructions, I'll do it. Because I like to study. I like to learn. But if not, I'll be saying, no, I can't do this. Forget it. But let me get out there. Let me do it.
No, it's true what you're saying, though. Like, dialect is everything. I've moved around a lot as a kid. So even just things I say, and I look around, because of everything I've been exposed to, I almost kind of like, everybody has kind of like their own language, which is incredibly fascinating to watch. And also, like I said, my grandmother is Maltese. So what I usually do to learn languages is I learn how to swear first. Because here's the thing, right? Everybody does. I don't know a single soul that doesn't want to teach somebody a dirty word. It's hilarious.
I don't.
Also,
it's okay if you do. I don't.
No. But here's the beautiful thing about that, right? You create a bond with somebody too. You learn two things. You learn a lot about a culture, because what a culture swears about tells you exactly what they value. It really does. Malta, my family, has very Arabic swearing. So if anyone knows how to swear in Arabic, you can swear in Maltese, and it means the exact same thing. So and the values aren't that different. Interesting. The other thing too, and this is the other thing too. So that's one thing. The other thing is the food. If you don't have the dirty words and you can have dinner with somebody, you become a friend. Because what happens is you build your own broken language with them, and it's an amazingly wonderful experience. And I can swear in 7 languages. I can only speak 3, but I can swear in 7. So I mean, and it doesn't matter because the thing about it is, right? The thing about it is, I've made some great friends doing it, and also I've learned an open mind goes a long way, and
Yeah.
that's what I've learned doing it. So
Yeah.
okay. On that note, wow. Yeah, I'm gonna go by what I said.
So you
You might legitimately be the sweetest person I've ever interviewed. Legitimately.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, all right,
You're
legitimately.
making my day then. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you legitimately might be that person. And I've interviewed some sweethearts, but you're great. And I don't ever don't.
Say, uh,
Oh, she's trying to figure out
narrow
the
it down to Victor Webster. I
Victor.
love Victor
I,
Webster.
I'm not cool, guys. So I don't know. Here's
Yeah.
what I do know. Here's what I do know.
Um,
Um,
before that, you have to go read my blog about Christmas in Puerto Rico.
okay.
I wrote one about Christmas, and then I wrote about the food. I had to go talk about the food. So you go read it and see the pictures, and think, okay, if you haven't tried it, go find a place that sells Hispanic or food. So you give your opinion. Oh my God, this is awesome, or oh, maybe I don't like it. It's not for me. So
Well,
I know you're gonna like it.
okay. I will. I'll definitely check that out. So everybody, check that one out too. Check it. So tell people. Okay. So Jag, you got about 5 minutes, 4 minutes to find this. We're gonna get to the
Yeah,
hauling of stuff.
Bill
So
Webster does Summer Villa, Love Blossom. I love Blossom. And recently he started a series of mysteries, matchmaker mysteries. I'm a Hallmark nerd. Remember I said that I'm the
yeah, you
Hallmark
are.
nerd. Any other Victor Webster? I think he recently did a couple of Christmas ones. I will tweet you when I can find it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay,
you
that's
find
fine.
Josh or you
Hunt
find
me
me on
down.
Twitter. I'm
Definitely hunt me
always talking
down. I'm
about the
not hard to
Hallmark.
find. Right. So all right. So on that note, yeah, I think we have a great conversation. All right. I think we have a great.
The
What do you
police
think?
harder. That's the Summer Villa. Summer Villa.
Somerville?
He's
Okay.
he's a chef. He's a chef. The lady is an author, but she goes to her friend's villa to rethink her story. He is brother of the lady of the house, so that's how they met. They have to share the house. Of course, they're gonna end up.
Yes, that's a
Yeah,
funny.
that's the one, Summer Villa, and that's how they end up together.
I,
Happy ending. You know, they
yeah.
get in love and they get to be together. So yeah,
So
we got a Hallmark fan. You see?
yeah. I see. No, you got a Hallmark fan. So I now have a movie I have to go check out. Somerville.
Yes.
I might be cool enough to watch it. Am I cool enough to
Yeah.
watch it, guys? What do you think? Okay. So
Go
full
ahead.
of coffee. What's
Full
your
of Coffee blog. Full of Coffee was taken, so I went to Full of Coffee blog.
okay?
And you can find me on the website. You can find me on Facebook. And on Twitter, it's not Full of Coffee, but I'm always writing about Full of Coffee. If you
Okay.
see my profile, I write, I love coffee, I love Hallmark, I love baseball, I love Puerto Rico, I love Harry Potter, different things that I like, and I connect with people. When it's baseball season, I'm always connecting with other fans. And I'm not a football fan, it's not football season, but I've been watching a couple of games. So baseball starts in February, so I love baseball. So that's the other thing. When I'm not watching home, I'm gonna be watching baseball or reading my books. I love reading books. So
All right. So can I? Am I cool?
any ideas when you read my blog or any idea that you have? Why don't you write about this? I love what you wrote about that. Found you. Then go ahead and shoot me a text or email. Not text. I'm sorry. Twitter, Facebook, reach out to me. I'm learning to reach out to others. So it's interesting. It's always good to meet other people. And it's always good when you find that community that supports you, that's positive, that gives you good feedback. I've never met you before, and you're giving me good feedback already. You see, so that's why I've been smiling the whole interview. It's been we've been past the hour already.
Oh no,
Um,
no, I know. It's been fun.
and we can keep
I
going. You can ask JD we can keep going. We can keep easily going to the next hour. There's always something to talk about. So much we talk about already.
Oh yeah, no, there is. However, I think for tonight, how about this? I'll make you a deal. How about we do this right now, and then I'll wrap this up. When your book is out, however you choose to make it come out, you want to come back?
Sure, of course.
That
And then
works.
you can say, "Did I tell you? Didn't I tell you?" And I said, "Look, Josh, I did it.
Yeah,
It's out there."
yeah,
Yes,
and I will be ecstatic. Tell JD first, then tell me, and then
yes, and then
all
tell you.
right, all right. Because I feel he's been in your corner longer than I have. But I will say,
Yes,
I enjoyed meeting you. It was great to
thank
meet
you.
you, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you so much. So soon I reach out to you. I'm gonna have an interview with you. You're gonna tell me your process to where
Okay,
you are. It's
okay.
titled "How Did I Get Here?" And then I'll see how did you get to where you're at. Besides from what we have talked already, you're probably gonna go a couple more weeks, and we change our point of view and we change how we perceive things.
Mhm.
That's the beauty of it. Be open to learning things. Be open to opportunities. So it's been a pleasure meeting you. It's been a pleasure having this conversation. My first time on a live stream, so it's always a first time for something.
Hey,
But it's been with you.
I had fun. I really did. And honestly, yeah. Anytime you want to do an interview with me, just ask. I have a big mouth. I'm good at it. Ask anybody that's
Yes,
on here. Um, but on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 499 of Just Josh. And tomorrow night,
499.
I
I
know.
was wondering that was my number gonna be, because I saw you writing about it. I'm like, oh my god, 499. Awesome.
Yes, yeah. So JD, you're gonna be 502. Yeah, tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, it's episode 500. So what I'm doing for 500, it's a drink and draw night. My guest is William Holland. Anybody and everybody is welcome to come in. I'm drawing Ninja Turtles. I'm also going to just talk about my podcast, and I'm going to say it's something very special to everybody that's watched my show or listened to my show for the last 5 years as a thank you for this incredible run. It's been amazing. I'm not done by any stretch, but 500 is a hell of a feat,
Yeah.
and the show has changed quite a bit. Yeah. Well, Last Ronin. We're going to be doing Last Ronin theme stuff. So we're going to be talking about Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin. So yes. But on that note, guys, if you guys support this podcast, do so a couple different ways. Hit the follow button on my Twitch, twitch.tv/justjoshingpaws. Hit the follow button. My YouTube channel is Joshua Pantellaresco. Hit the subscribe button, click for notifications. That would be amazing. Thanks for everybody that's watched. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And tomorrow night, we break a new milestone. Take care, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was a pleasure.